Hey guys, it's John Warren coming to you live from the shed in the middle of the coronavirus lockdowns. And I wanted to jump on live today and have a bit of a chat about free Google Shopping ads. So you might have seen today, and if you're watching this on replay later, recently, Google announced they're going to start introducing free Google Shopping ads into their Google Shopping search results. And a lot of people I've seen today so far have been going a bit crazy about this, obviously worried about what that means if they're an e-commerce advertiser that relies on Google Shopping for a significant part of their revenue. There's a lot of concerns flying around. Obviously, people jumping to conclusions as usually happens when one of these announcements is made. And so I thought I'd just get on here today and share my thoughts about what this could mean. I mean, it's obviously early days, it's just been announced. So you know, a lot of this stuff is, I guess, and what a lot of people are saying at this point is just assumptions, is guesswork. But, you know, I think there are some things that it's pretty reasonably easy to say that's going to result from this. So to me, this isn't actually a massive surprise that Google's going down this route. Potentially adding free listings is a bit of a surprise, but it fits with the times, of course, with everything that's going on with COVID-19. And it does give them an easy opportunity to start changing up the Google search the Google Shopping platform within the overall Google search network. And I think they've wanted to do this for a while. And you've sort of seen this coming if over the last couple of years you've watched what they're doing with Google Shopping Actions and on their Google Discover network as well with shopping listings there, is that they've been moving slowly towards more of a marketplace approach, just similar to what, say, Amazon might do, in that they're giving people the opportunity to sell through their platform in a way that is not their traditional pay-per-click model. So on Google Shopping Actions, you can list your products there for free, and you only pay when somebody buys from you through the platform, and you pay a percentage of the total sale value in a similar way to what you might do if you were selling, say, through Amazon. And you know, it's my early call at this point, but I think right now they're getting this in there for free to get more people onto the platform. But I do believe that down the track, probably once the COVID-19 stuff has passed, they are going to start monetizing these free listings, but they're not going to do it via the traditional pay-per-click method. I believe they're going to start introducing the sell through this platform, and we'll take a cut of each sale. There's no pay-per-click, you don't pay up front. For the click, you only pay when you make a sale. I do believe that's where they're going to go, and I think, to me, that's the natural evolution of what they've been doing with the Google Shopping Actions platform, which, to be honest, at this point, is having, in my view, pretty limited success, one, in getting sales for a lot of people that list on there, but also in getting uptake from the majority of Google Shopping advertisers currently, so e-commerce business owners and e-commerce businesses. So, but you know, for now, for the time being, they're taking a good advantage of the situation. They've got a good news story to say. We're getting people for free onto our platform to help businesses out. I think that's a great thing. Of course, that's fantastic. But the cynical part of me does believe that Google's not going to do that in the long term, based on, you know, Google's entire history since they last had free shopping ads. And so if you've not been around for a long time, going way back into the past when these things were called product listing ads, and even had a name before that, they were free for a period of time. All Google Shopping ads were free at one point, and then they monetized it. So I think we're going to see a similar thing happen again. But I do think it's a good move through Google, because they do have some problems. While Google Shopping has been growing and a lot of advertisers are moving into it in the last few years, there are still a lot of e-commerce businesses that do not use Google Shopping, primarily either because they don't want to use the pay-per-click model, but also because they have trouble with supporting the cost of advertising on the platform. And so they prefer to sell through other platforms like eBay's, Amazon's, marketplaces, or just organic search listings. So this does make sense for Google in that way, that they can now get more people into the platform and then hopefully slowly convert them over to some sort of monetization over time. Now, what does this mean for you right now. I think there's a few points that you can pull from this right now if you're sitting here thinking about what does this mean for me. So the first thing I want to say is don't panic about it, right? It's rolling out in the US only at this point. Other countries will follow later in the year. So if you're in a country that's not the US, as of today, nothing's going to change this week, next week, or the week after, right? Things will just go on as normal. If you are in the US, I think that it's still not going to be panic stations very soon, right? It's going to take some time for more advertisers to really start getting in and using the platform. They've still got to have a functional e-commerce site. They've got to set up product feeds, merchant center accounts, and get onboarded, and then actually learn how to use the system. That's not going to happen in any sort of volume overnight. So for the time being, if you're in the US, you need to keep running your existing shopping ads if you use the platform, and keep running them as you normally would. Keep an eye on your cost per clicks and your cost per sales. At the moment, across the board, what I'm seeing is they're down anyway because of the impacts of coronavirus. But if you start to see them rise, then you need to have a closer look at things. The free ads are not replacing existing paid listings. I think that's important to point out. Google has shared some screenshots of what it's going to look like. And from those, you can clearly see that there are still paid listings appearing above the free listings. Google's not going to get rid of paid listings because obviously they'd be cutting their own throat. They still want people to pay for ads. So it's going to kind of feel a bit more like, I guess, the traditional search pages where you have paid ads at the top followed by organic listings below, which are free listings. So we're still going to be running paid ads on Google Shopping if you're already doing that. And there's no reason to think at this point that just because they're opening up free ads, those paid spots are going to get more competitive, right? If somebody's not paying for Google ads now, there's no reason to think that they're going to start paying for ads just because they're also getting free ads. Right now, over time, there may be some people who get exposed to the channel through the free network and say, oh, this is actually pretty good. I see some conversions here. I'll try paying for ads. That may happen. And the other thing that may happen is that the Google shopping space on the page may well get pretty small, so less ads, which will mean that you really do want to own the first 3 paid spots on that page, right? I think that will become a very big thing, which kind of feeds into the next point, is that product feed optimization, so making sure the data that you're sending through Merchant Center to Google, which they use to determine where you appear on the page, is going to be more important than ever. And I'll have some stuff coming out about this soon about how you can make sure that your feed is properly optimized. But it's important. It's already important. Like if you really want to do Google Shopping well, you already have to be doing feed optimization, at least looking at your feed. But it's going to be more important now because one of the ways that Google will choose who appears first in the free listings, as it currently does with the paid listings, is based on the strength of the data that they're supplying to Merchant Center and how well that matches with the search terms that customers are actually making on the network. So you want to be into your product feed optimization, and that's going to be important. Now, Google Shopping, in my opinion, particularly for high ticket sales at the moment, which is something that I've done for years, as most people would know, who know me, is not a great platform for a top of funnel acquisition, right? SEO, organic listings, things like that are significantly better at acquiring large amounts of top of funnel traffic to your website, which if you want to grow a large e-commerce business, you need to be able to do. You can't just only focus on the bottom of the funnel. For higher ticket products, Google Shopping definitely shines in the middle to the bottom of the funnel in terms of being able to generate a profitable cost per acquisition and that sort of thing. I think for lower ticket products, if you're on the lower end of the price side, often Google Shopping can be okay towards the top of the funnel. But I think this potentially is a game changer in that regard. If you can now start acquiring top of funnel traffic for free through the free listings, you don't have the cost per sale to contend with that you do with the paid listings. And so this potentially opens up a new avenue to focus on top of funnel traffic that you would ordinarily exclude from your free shopping ads and get some additional sales or people into your sales funnel that way. So I think that's a really cool potential thing that could happen. Obviously, we're going to need to see the mechanics of how these free listings actually work and what control you have over how they're targeted. But I think there's a big opportunity there, particularly for higher ticket sellers, high ticket drop shippers, particularly. So keep an eye on that space, but certainly that's where my mind starts to go when I think about strategy. Now, also, I think keeping an eye on your other sort of quality or relevancy metrics, things like that Google already relies on both for organic listings and paid shopping listings. So things like page speed, the quality of the content on your page, all of these things I think will also still become important for getting a good spot in those free listings. So what you want to make sure you're doing is, as much as possible, optimizing your site's performance. I mean, you should be doing this anyway, of course, but all I'm trying to hit home is that this is going to become important if you want to get into those free listings, because Google's not going to be relying on what you're bidding or an auction system to determine where you place. If the closest thing that's going to relate to an auction system for free listings is most likely to be how good is your product data and how well does your site perform, and they may even introduce some other business performance metrics like how well you ship, customer feedback, and things like this to determine who places first in those free listings. So start thinking about, if it's not been a focus for you already, how you can improve where you stand on those sort of things. Now, I think competition will increase, right? I mean, that's in a lot of ways given this. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think competition will increase significantly on the lower ticket end of e-commerce. I don't think there's going to be a massive increase in competition for higher ticket products at this point. This is very much, to me, aimed at getting more people onto the platform that sell lower ticket products. But there will be an increase in competition. It's not going to be immediate, and you shouldn't be afraid of this. You've got to remember, a lot of people who get onto Google Shopping from an advertiser perspective are not very good at what they do. It's not hard to win on Google Shopping. Now, I say that obviously from the basis of 6 years experience running Google Shopping ads. If you're just getting started out, it may feel like it's hard to win there. But once you work out a winning strategy and you're able to implement that, you know how to optimize things on your feed end, on your site end, it's a lot of the new people that come onto the platform are not going to know how to do that immediately. They're going to have to learn all this stuff. They're going to either have to pay somebody to help them or learn it, and that's going to take time. And I also think that cost per clicks on the platform in some niches and categories may actually decrease. So I think there are going to be struggling advertisers there on the paid side right now who are barely scraping by on it. Yes, they're making sales, but the cost per acquisition for them is high, so they're not making much profit out of the ads. I think there's going to be some of those, and I've come into contact with those before, so I know how they think. I think there's going to be some of those who say, well, I'm going to stop paying for ads here, and I'm just going to use the free listings. So I think in some niches and categories, you're actually going to see cost per clicks and cost per sales go down as some people pull out of the paid listings in favor of the free listings. Now, I would say that's a mistake if you're one of those advertisers, but I can definitely see that happening. Now, you might think, why would Google let that happen? Why would Google want that to happen? You know, they make money from the paid listings. And I'll come back to my point that I made earlier in this recording, that I think the free nature of this thing is only going to be a temporary exercise. Once the whole coronavirus, COVID-19 thing has passed us, I think what you're going to see is Google will start moving to some form of monetization with these free spots, because that's what Google does, right? I don't see these things remaining free for a long time past the coronavirus stuff, because why? Why would Google do that? What's in it for them? There's going to be some monetization at some point. I don't think that will be in the form of pay-per-click in the traditional sense of what we're used to with the Google Shopping platform, but I definitely do believe that it's more likely to be in the form of what traditional marketplaces do, which is, Google Shopping's biggest competition is other marketplaces. And so I think what you'll see is they'll introduce some form of what they do with Google Shopping Actions currently, which is to say, we're now going to have you selling directly rather than going through your website. People can buy the product on this page. Yes, they can still probably click to your website, but they can buy the product here. If you sell on this platform, then we're going to take a cut of the sale, 10%, 8%, 12%, which they have a range depending on what category you're in, and those rates already exist within Google Shopping Actions. And my call is that that's where they're going to move to in the future with these free listings. Now, I may well be wrong on that. It's very early days, and I'm always happy to be wrong on these sort of things, but that's where I think they're going to go. So to summarize all of this, if you're sitting there right now and you're wondering, what do I need to do? What you need to do if you're already on Google Shopping is keep running your paid Google Shopping ads. As we start to see more of how the mechanics of this are going to work, obviously, you will need to start getting access to those free listings. Of course, you want to do that. And things like product data optimization, your quality score, things to do with your site, you're going to want to make sure that you're optimizing on those things. You need to keep an eye on your cost per clicks and your cost per sales. If you're already advertising on there, make sure that you don't see those rising. If you're not using Google Shopping yet and you're watching this, then obviously, start signing up for a Merchant Center account. If nothing else, you want to test out these free listings. It's a pretty simple process to get onto Google's system, Google's advertising system. So start the process now. I think their processing times are a bit slow at the moment due to coronavirus, but you'll get on there at some point, and it could be a great opportunity for you to play around with the platform, get a bit of experience there, and then think about whether you want to go into the paid advertising space there as well in the future. So look, if you've got any questions about what these free Google Shopping ads mean for you, and how you might take advantage of them, or things you're concerned about, leave a comment or whatever below this video or on this post, depending on where you're watching or listening to it, and I'll happily answer that there. So thanks for watching or listening, and we'll talk soon.